morning, it's Leanne Peters here. I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook, Temple of Balance on YouTube, and I'm also from Harmony on High Street, a gallery and art hub in Campbelltown, Tasmania. So welcome, thank you for joining me today. I am coming to you live from Tasmania, Australia, where it is Monday, the 28th of April, and the time is 9:19 a.m. I am here to pull some cards and share some guidance for this week ahead, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. First of all, I want to send out a big extra special welcome to my Temple of Balance patrons, my Pillar of Light members, and all of those of you who support my work through my website or support my work through Harmony on High Street. Thank you very much for your support. So I'm here to pull some cards for this week ahead. What I'm going to be doing is using my oracle cards here that I created. I have two decks combined. We have the Animal Kingdom oracle cards and the Speed of Light oracle cards. So they've been combined to make a deck of 110 cards. And I'll be using this combined deck to find the best cards that the majority of us need for this week ahead. So that's this week starting Monday the 28th of April through to Sunday the 4th of May 2025. So I'm not pulling cards for individuals. This is general guidance for everyone. So I do trust that you've been led here for a reason, and I trust that something shared supports you at this time. So I do recommend that you take on board what does feel right and what does resonate and what does fit into your life easily, and let the rest go. And let's see what happens. I think that's all I need to say. Think of this as a guide only, and let's go with the flow. Good morning, Valentina. Welcome to you. So I'm shuffling the cards and I'm asking the cards to show the majority of us what do we need to know for this week starting the 28th of April through to the 4th of May. So the best cards I trust will find their way to the top of the deck based on the way I choose my cards. So the best cards for the majority of us for this week are, we'll go with these. So I'm going to place them face down, so just bear with me a moment. Okie dokie, let's start with Monday. Hi Shauna, Monday the 28th of April. We have an Animal Kingdom oracle card, and it is the Frog. Card 34. We haven't seen the frog for a while. In fact, if you're pretty new to watching these videos or new to these cards, you may not have seen the frog. So it's popped up now for a reason. It says to cleanse your environment. Cleanse your environment. So this is your inner, or our inner environment and our outer environment, making sure things are clear, balanced, harmonious, hopefully, and that if there are problems or difficulties or challenges that we're facing, that we're proactively looking at those, or working out a solution, or figuring out how to move through them. That we're being patient when we need to be patient, that we're not making things worse than they really are, maybe to also looking at how much, or hopefully how little, we might be complaining at this time. How much are we involving ourselves or getting swept up into negativity, which includes things like complaining, and looking at the glass half empty rather than the glass half full. So really looking at our internal space, our internal environment, our internal world, and our external world, and how do these match up? How are they working together? Are they working together? They may not be at all. But the frog's very much about cleansing our environment, our inner and outer environment, looking at the relationships or the dynamics between these two kind of worlds that we live in. What is working and what isn't, what needs our attention, what have we been ignoring or denying or trying to run away from, What do we need to face in our outer world or our inner world, or a combination of both? So this is a time, especially on Monday, to do some deep purging, some clearing, and perhaps some assessment of our internal world, our external world. So internally, when I'm looking at what's going on for me, how is my internal balance? I'm looking specifically at things like the state of my body, the state of my mind, the state of my emotions. And I'll also look at how connected or disconnected I might feel on a spiritual level. So I'm looking at it from physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, when I'm looking at my own inner world and how that's playing out for me at this time. And when I'm looking at my outer world, I'm looking at things like my relationship with what's going on in my life, my relationships in general, so my relationships with my closest people I live with, up to my acquaintances or friendships or people I'm currently interacting with in some way. So how are the dynamics of those relationships playing out at this time? How is my relationship with my life, with my path, with my sense of purpose? And what needs to perhaps shift or be adjusted or to change or improve to help improve the relationships that are playing out across the board on an external level? How is the state of my home? How is the state of my finances at this time too? What's the state of my health? What am I thinking a lot about? How are my priorities? How am I spending my time? So there's a lot of things that we could be exploring in this energy, but in general, the frog is about looking at our internal or external or both environment or world. How are they doing right now? And what do we need to cleanse or clear or release about them? So that's for Monday. Now let's go to Tuesday. Tuesday the 29th of April, we've got another Animal Kingdom Oracle. And we have the doe. We haven't seen the doe for a while either. So this shows that there is a shift in energy, especially with the very intense cards that came up and the intense energy from last week. This is card 41, the doe. And the doe reminds us to feel deeply. So there is an internal feeling, especially with this particular card. The frog is internal and or external, if not both. And the doe is very much internal. So how are we feeling? We might be feeling quite sensitive on Tuesday, perhaps vulnerable, perhaps fragile. We're being encouraged to really pay attention to how we feel and what is triggering us. What are we reacting to? What are we feeling uncomfortable about? What are we not listening to in relation to our feeling and the sensitivity that we have to the dynamics of things around us, including relationships, but also the way our life is or where we are on our life's path? I find my emotions are like a key. They can help me go into places that I want to or may not want to, but I need to look at things that are out of balance or out of whack. My sensitivity on an emotional level will show me that something's not quite right. I might feel sick, or I might feel some strong reaction. I might feel anger or something. So I'll be looking at, okay, why was that emotion stirred with this particular thing or this thought or this scenario that's playing out? And how can I work with my emotions to help me move through it personally and come out the other side? So feel deeply is our card here for Tuesday. That's the doe. Then things take a turn. We've got a shift in the cards here. So we've got these two cards, the frog and the doe, for Monday, Tuesday especially. So this is very internal. It's very much about looking at ourselves, looking at our life, looking at our relationships. There's a sensitivity feeling here, but also a sense of things need to be purged and cleared and cleaned. So we might find that also for early in the week. Then I'm going to jump up to the cards as far as the spread goes. We're looking now at Wednesday. We're going to look at Wednesday on its own. It's the last day of April, and this is something shifting here. I don't know what, but this is a Speed of Light Oracle card, and we have the projection card, card 15. And down here it says vision, focus, concentration, and chaos. This is a very mental card, we could say. It's very mentally focused, as we might imagine from the illustration here. So we've been encouraged on Wednesday especially, and as we wind up the month of April, is to really look at what we are focusing on or what we are giving our attention to. Whatever we are giving our attention to is what we're focusing on. So if we're giving our attention to the negativity and the drama of the world, then we're focusing on the negativity and the drama of the world. If we're giving our attention to a new project that we're trying to birth or build, then we are focusing on a new project that we're trying to birth or build. What I'm saying is that what we're giving our attention to is the same as what we're focusing on. They are the same thing. So where is your attention going? Do you need to steer your attention back on track if you've been distracted by the dramas of the world, or by shiny things over here, or worries over there? So there's a sort of a feeling here of honing in our attention and our focus on what it is that we want to be focusing on, or what we need to be focusing on. What we need and what we want can be two different things. So focusing on what we need. If we've got financial stress or problems at the moment that we've been ignoring, and we've been swept up in other external dramas that are taking our attention, and we're not bringing our focus on our financial problems and how to rectify those, then we're just distracting ourselves from what we need to look at that's closer to home. So there is this feeling here of bringing our attention back to the things that are more important, or perhaps, more important than what we've been maybe thinking about or giving our attention to. What can we do about the problematic areas of our life that are simmering under the surface? What about that elephant in the room in our life that we've perhaps been ignoring, and instead we've been watching the sports ball on the TV or whatever that's been distracting us? Now, there is good time for distraction sometimes if we need a break or we need to switch off for a little bit, but not constantly. So let's be careful that we're not distracting ourselves and avoiding looking at the real problem, the elephant in the room. What is the elephant in the room at this time for you, especially around Wednesday? So let's focus on our vision. Let's focus our full attention on what it is that we need to focus on. We can choose what we're focusing on. Our mind, kind of a lazy mind, I suppose, in some ways, wants to go on its little tangents and think the worst, and then the monkey mind sort of rolls around and around, and before we know it, we're giving our power away to negative thinking. But we can take our power back in regards to our thoughts. So who's in the driver's seat for you in your life, and especially in regards to your mind? Can you step back into the driver's seat? Can you steer yourself in the direction that you need to go and face the things that you need to face? So I do feel this tying up of loose ends as we tie up April. I feel like bringing our attention to the things that need our attention, and especially the things we've been avoiding or trying to run away from. So that's for April. Now let's look at Thursday and Friday together. So this is the 1st and the 2nd of May. It's a Speed of Light Oracle, and we have the koala. Now the koala is a featured card. The further instructions here, though, say to meditate, reflect, and ponder. So this is a quiet card. It's a patient card. It's a waiting card, card 52. The koala says, ponder, slow, quiet, grandfather, and wait. So as we start May, there might be a bit of a waiting energy around, a bit of a pause. Perhaps there's a limbo feeling for some of us. We might be waiting for something to happen, some news, some information, some results, a door to open, a date to come. and maybe it's not happening quite yet early in May. So we have to be a bit patient, or a bit more patient. Or another word, or a couple of words to use instead of patience might be to trust in perfect timing. So our patience may be needed early in May, and we might find ourselves moving slower and just being receptive. It feels like even the words there's not a lot of words coming for this. So I feel that there's this slower, pondering, patient energy coming up for early in May. Some of us may be feeling sleepy because the koala sleeps a lot. Okay, this is for Saturday the 3rd of May, Animal Kingdom Oracle cards, and we have the zebra. And the zebra says, it's card 22, it says alternative options. So this is about looking for other options, other potentials. It could be a second opinion, if that's something that we might be contemplating at this time in our life, depending on what we've got going on. But there are other options available. So this is about sort of stepping back in some way and looking at the forest instead of looking close up at the tree. So if we look close up at the tree in the forest, we'll only see this is the only option, or this is the only path in this forest that we can take. But if we allow ourselves a space and perhaps the bit of a pause energy, maybe this is part of that too, this opportunity to just step back a little bit and look at the forest. And when we look at the forest from a bird's eye view, we might see that, oh yeah, that's the path we were going to take, but hold on, there's another path there and another path there and a potential here and a potential there. So there might be more that we can be open to when we take a step back. So it makes me feel that this koala energy for Thursday, Friday, this sort of quieter energy, this pondering energy, that this might be really good to help us sort of step back from the dramas and the problems or the things that we're really that are really needing our attention at this time. To step back and look for and be open to other options. Okay, then for Sunday the 4th of May, we have this Animal Kingdom Oracle card, and it's the Sea Eagle. Speaking of perspective, this is card 29, and the Sea Eagle says reconnection. So this is a reconnection. This is a plugging back in to the things that are important to us, but especially things that relate to empowering us, a sense of strength, a stopping giving our power away and bringing our power, our energy back to us. And then we choose what we're going to do with this energy. We choose what we're going to give our attention to. We choose what we're going to focus on instead of our monkey mind running rampant and thinking the worst and jumping to all sorts of conclusions that aren't probably even on the cards. So there is this feeling of reconnection, of plugging back into the things that are important to us. Now we might be looking at too, reconnecting with things that are important to us on a spiritual level. So the way we connect, the way we support ourselves spiritually, has that been neglected lately? We might find on Sunday some time to reconnect to spirit, to reconnect to our spirituality in whatever way that looks like and feels like for us individually. There's also a feeling here with this Sea Eagle card about reconnecting to or reconnecting with other people who are important to us. So a great time perhaps for a reunion or a catching up with family or friends that we haven't seen for a while. A way to strengthen that connection or strengthen those relationships. We might also find ourselves really needing to look at our relationship with ourselves. So perhaps a look at how can we strengthen our relationship with us? What are we doing or what are we not doing that either supports or doesn't support our continual relationship with ourselves? And how does that balance up in our life? So the Sea Eagle also flies up above the storm and it can see things from a higher plane or a higher perspective. So again, we've got this perspective shift that's taking place, especially over the weekend, there is this sense that we might more easily be able to step back and look at the bigger picture or sense the bigger picture in some way. And this is extremely valuable when we're looking at situations and even problems in our life. So how can we step back and be open to looking at this from a higher place, from a broader perspective, a bigger picture angle, to help make sure that we are on track and make sure that we are choosing the best path possible. So the Sea Eagle reconnection for at the end of the weekend. So that's that. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to pull a theme card in just a moment, but before I do, I want to thank you for joining me. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button. Please show us some love. Please comment, please share if you're inspired to. If you'd like to learn more about my cards that I've used today, you can learn more about them on my website, the Speed of Light Oracle and the Animal Kingdom Oracle. You can work with the decks separately, or you can combine them if you wish. You can learn more about them at templeofbalance.com.au. I've also just literally before I came and started this live stream, I've just opened our next 12-hour healing event. I call them a 12-hour healing marathon. So it's a full 12 hours of focusing on our theme, and our theme is solstice renewal. So it's going to be taking place on Friday the 20th of June. That's my time in Australia, so it may be Thursday for you, but you can join in any time from when I start at your own pace. So it's going to be live videos that will then be able to be watched later, and also a few Zoom sessions. So the last one I did of these was back in April last year. So they happen maybe once a year, sometimes twice a year, sometimes once every 2 years, depending on what I've got going on. So if you would like to join me for that, you can learn more about it on my website too, at templeofbalance.com.au. So please have a look on there if you'd like to support my work, or if you resonate with the way I work, you might find some great resources on my website, including my Pillar of Light membership. So check it out if you're interested. I am now looking for the best theme card. The theme card will help us see the bigger picture for this week ahead, and bring all of these days together. So the best card for our theme from April the 28th through till the 4th of May 2025 is this. It's an Animal Kingdom Oracle card. And we have the Masked Owl, which I think came up in the last reading or the one before. It's card 49, and it reminds us to be optimistic. So we're being encouraged this week to stay hopeful and optimistic. And this again highlights what I was talking about with our monkey mind taking over and having us think the worst, or being distracted by other things that are just not important in the grand scheme of our life right now. So looking at our priorities and the priorities of the attention that we're giving things. So let's stay hopeful and optimistic. Let's try not to be too negative and pessimistic and doom and gloom if possible. And if we catch ourselves being negative and dooming and glooming about things, because it will spiral and then infect other areas of our life, if we catch ourselves doing that, let's take some steps to make some changes and adjustments and focus on the things that are right before us. Things like practicing gratitude for the people who are there and the things that are working and the things that we do have that we perhaps take for granted. This can be a great way to divert our attention away from the negative, pessimistic, doom and gloom thinking, which then infects us and it infects people around us, and then diverting our attention to something more positive. So think about practicing gratitude this week. Who are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? Are you grateful you've got a roof over your head, some warm clothes to wear, that you're breathing today, that you woke up today when a lot of other people haven't? there's a lot to appreciate, and gratitude's a great way to divert our attention over to the realistic, more positive sort of hopeful energy, or hopeful things that we can give our attention to. So there is cause to stay optimistic this week. Things may not be as bad and as dire and as desperate and as doomy and gloomy as what we think. So unless we see the evidence of it right directly, and we might be having a real crappy time in our life right now, then supporting ourselves through that so we can come out the other side might be helpful. But in general, if there's not that much that's really dire and desperate and doomy and gloomy right now in the weeds of our life, then we may find diverting our attention to staying more optimistic and more hopeful may be really helpful this week, and something that's probably quite possible. So let's stay hopeful and optimistic. Things are going to work out. We are getting through this. Things are getting better. Things are improving, that kind of thing. So I trust this resonates and supports you, and I also trust that you have a fantastic week ahead. So thank you so much for watching. I am about to go over to YouTube, so if you're watching live, I'm going over to YouTube. Well, what time is it? And I can let you know when. In 15 minutes to host our personal healing event for patrons. So if you'd like to connect there, I will be over there shortly. If not, then have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Take care of yourself, and bye for now.